I've just reached the conclusion that people are just cruel to people with disabilities, and some even with good intentions. You know? Just reflecting on myself, and even just a thought came to my mind with my friend Julie. You know, how much her family wants her to be independent when she simply does not have the ability, at least in this point of time. I've lost my voice from crying so much. No, the ID, you know, people can steal my identity, but whatever, I'm not as concerned about that. What I'm really bothered by is that I got put in the position for this to happen, and it's just a slap in my face. How people over-expect me, think that I could just have this capacity to be responsible for things, that it's my own problem, I have to deal with it. And even when I'm put in government care, I've had to learn the very hard way that people do not want to accommodate you until it is proven that you've tried already. Even when you report it to them, they don't believe you. They think you could do it. My own regional center worker, Rocio, had told people with California Mentor responsible for me that I cannot be left home alone for 12 hours a day. And they pushed her to make it happen. And now I'm just suffering with that consequence. You know? Even people with a disability work, they like to just go by what they see. I've had people tell me that have worked with me that I'm not very disabled, that I should be learning how to drive and all of that. When have you seen my fucking room? If you look at what happened with the forum, if I drove a fucking car, I would crash the car and either injure or kill my own self or somebody else, or both. I can never drive unless things develop in the future with assistive technology, and took care of that for my own self. Even then, those things can break down, and I would need someone else with me in the car. So I just don't have the capacity to do certain things. And people love to tell me that I'm making excuses, or that I'm just thinking that, or I'm being a victim, when they don't see it. Because people love to go by what they see, and they do not put the time or don't have the experience to understand or see patterns. And even with other people on the spectrum, the double empathy problem is really not confined to just autism and neurotypicals. It occurs introspective as well, in my opinion. Because I've seen people who are diagnosed and not have empathy. If you even look at the comment sections with that Dr. Todd Grande, many people with autism diagnosed are unable to empathize with that individual because they don't have the experience. I don't have the experience of law enforcement, but I have been emotionally dysregulated before from complex trauma. And I've also been trained with police officers, you know, how to interact with them. So I have the knowledge that, because I didn't have the knowledge, that people on the spectrum sometimes just really need training to interact with police officers or to have a card. So, you know, most people are never going to think about how that autistic individual may need a card, and it is the state neglecting that individual for a failure to provide that card to them because they have not considered it or they don't have the experience. So they're putting the responsibility unduly on the individual, when actually what's really happening is that individual needed a card to hand a police officer, and the police officer would be required by law to follow that, whatever is on that disability card. This is what I mean. You know, like, even intra-autism people lack empathy if you are not on the same area of the spectrum, the same shade, and nobody's the same shade. I'm definitely different from almost every other autistic person, but you know, you can't lump it all in like that. That's a problem. That really doesn't help with people setting expectations, because they say, oh, you know, my relative could do this and this and that, and you can too, and it's not how it works.